To 10 tonight, a deadly weekend at a Houston music festival put event safety in the spotlight. Thousands of people surged toward the stage, trampling concert goers, leaving 8 people dead. As the doors reopen for more shows, venues with a fraction of the capacity are taking a second look at how they're keeping fans safe. WDRB's Joel Skipper takes us backstage at local concert halls and shows us their plans for upcoming events.
Chaos over the weekend as 8 people died and dozens injured at the Astroworld Festival in Houston. Rapper Travis Scott performed on stage as the crowd began pushing closer to him, some being caught up in the crush of fans.
After what happened, after the terrible tragedy this past weekend, we are taking a look to make sure that we are doing everything that we can.
Christian Adelberg with Old Forester Paris Town Hall is used to general admission shows in the venue. A far cry from the crowd of 50,000 in Houston, the hall's 2,000-person capacity can still provide its own set of challenges.
Crowd surfing is not allowed, mosh pits are not allowed, and that's because safety is so important, especially with a large crowd.
Many of the general admission venues here in Louisville are 2 stories, unlike the Astroworld Festival. Up here, security can be gauging the swell and the flow of the crowd. And then they can notify someone at the stage who happens to be eye level if someone farther back falls.
If we see a situation that could become dangerous, the head of security has the ability to pull the audio feed and play an emergency message and shut it down.
Even smaller venues like Zanzibar, with a capacity of about 300, is planning on traffic control when Jack Harlow comes to town next month. Z-Bar owners and those with 4 other venues will meet after the first couple shows to assess security and recommend changes depending on the artist and fan base.
Security is able just to get a feel for who's going to be coming in. Is it a really excited crowd? Is it potentially an out-of-hand crowd?
Paristown usually has around 16 security guards for high-energy, high-demand shows. All 5 of Harlow's shows sold out in minutes. Adelberg says fans will go through metal detectors and will have bags checked, which is standard procedure.
It's only a few people at a time that'll be coming in, so there's no big, mad rush coming into the door.
In Louisville, Joel Skipper, WDRB News.
And in Houston, officials are still investigating what happened at Friday night's event. 8 people died, more than 300 people were injured, and about a dozen people were taken to the hospital. More than a dozen lawsuits have been filed against Travis Scott, Drake, and Live Nation. Many are frustrated that Scott kept performing and are pointing to his previous attitudes towards similar events.
We will be filing a lawsuit on behalf of 35 plaintiffs. That number is growing. Our phone is rang off the hook. I think it's self-evident that this concert was planned incredibly poorly.
Oftentimes when there's a mosh pit at one of his concerts, he will proudly say, "This isn't a mosh pit unless someone's getting hurt."
Scott has been charged twice in the past for encouraging his fans to taunt security and safety guidelines. A representative says Scott will cover the funeral costs for the 8 victims. He already agreed to full refunds for Astroworld and canceled his shows this weekend.